I beat Genshin Impact.
His first phrase of the video, when he says I beat Genshin Impact, is the first mistake that he makes. But of course, since this is the opening statement of the video, this is not meant to be literal. He's a YouTuber after all. This is simply a means to hook the viewer into keep watching the video. I won't stick any more attention to it. Even though we all know this is wrong, let's proceed. Hello everyone, my name is Fireheart, and let a player with a bit more experience dissect this video for you. And of course, I will be making points of my own. Also, if you are interested, stick around for some channel announcements at the end of the video.
Remember when I was wondering if the reason why the healing statues have a limit is because it is going to be a time gate later? Well, now I'm just wondering, why is it there?
Lore reasons mostly at this point.
So yeah, 4 months later...
4 months? Oh man, now I definitely know I have a lot more hours than this guy at least.
I can say that after crawling through this very confusing hole, I came out on the other side with all the major story quests complete, a few reputations maxed out, quite a few 5-star characters on my account while staying free to play.
Spoiler alert, he did not stay free to play. More on this later in the video.
And with the final floor of the Spiral Abyss cleared. So strap up and get ready, because it's not often you can see me mad or disappointed.
Honestly, same.
By all means, the story is the true raw experience here. If Genshin does anything at all, it is telling stories for their characters. And that's for the better, or much worse.
Yoimiya's story was pretty good, not the best, but certainly not a negative either.
But while these big moments in the story are amazing, the way you get there can be painful.
Now the story has its downs, but I don't know a single story who is made only of ups, and this includes games and anime as well.
The best example is Inazuma. When you arrive in this beautiful region, in order to get to the great parts of the story, you have to run around and get a pass that lets you freely walk around. To get it, you first have to run around and help people deal with taxes for 3 hours. You then have to learn about the conflict between the local houses for the next 2 hours.
5 total hours to play the quest to that point? I think you're exaggerating for the video, my guy. Pretty sure you can get out of the first area in less than 2.
Then things get a little bit more interesting as you learn about who Raiden is, before it gets to the part where you set up fireworks for 4 hours.
And set off fireworks for 4 hours? I don't even know what he is referring to, since this was just a blip or what I remember.
What I know as a fact is that there was a total of 10 hours of setup before you got to the great part of the story of the region.
To be honest, if you are playing the Inazuma main story without stop, you can complete it pretty quick until you leave the main island and go to the Watatsumi side.
And that's not even counting the storyline of the entire Commission War. A massive war that is supposed to shape the future of this region. But due to technical limitations, the game only shows us a 5v5 battle.
Now this I 100% agree with. How awesome would it be if instead of a 5v5 as he put it, we just went ham on the enemy, unleashing everything. And let my Venti suck them all up into a black hole and kill them with a jungly meatball from the heavens, having their own Archon finish off the rest. All of this is to say, I agree.
First of all, Genshin relies on their gacha system, which means one thing. They have to promote their characters, which is how a lot of the time you end up with a lot of characters who are forced into a story.
One thing this guy gets very wrong is that he thinks Genshin is a game with gacha involved. But the truth is that Genshin is a gacha disguised as hot anime women and men to yoink your bank. That's what all gacha game is. They try to get ya money.
Not because they would necessarily enhance the story experience, but because it is a 5-star character. They have to give them as much spotlight as possible. In my opinion, Yoimiya is the perfect example here. Honestly, she is such a great character, but her story should have been her own character quest. There was no reason to force her into the Archon quest so brutally. And I do believe that might have soured the character for some people, which later got saved because she's a really good DPS.
Yoimiya is a good fit into the main story in my opinion, But the funny thing is that he says that Yoimiya is a really good DPS. While I do agree with him, she is always not a good seller on her banners. But still the devs give Yoimiya more story than some of the best selling characters.
There is a golden saying that separates good and bad storytelling. Show, don't tell. In Genshin, this immediately gets thrown out the window when Paimon appears on screen. And she explains every single tiny detail you might have missed with very long and complicated sentences.
Another strong point that I agree with him is that Paimon is just not a well-done character. If you ask me, they should just let Paimon be a quieter companion to the Traveler. And for God's sake, let the Traveler speak. And don't make this flying lavender melon try to keep repeating what was just said, but in simpler terms. Because to be honest, this just makes things more confusing.
It gets quite bad when you realize that all the side quests are not voice acted, but they still have the same kind of long conversations.
A better point here about the side quests is that some of them contain more lore than the main quests. Just take Yoimiya for example, that is just a whole area of lore without a single drop of voice acting. Come on hoyoverse, your gacha has made billions so far. I think you can pay the voice actors for side quests too.
And I mean a lot. For many of you, this absolutely kills the pace, likely making you skip the dialogue and then look for videos on YouTube to tell you what happened.
Well, yes, I am the one guilty of that, but I'm not reading the 20-hour non-people quest. I rather watch a video that explained it in a few minutes while I'm also playing another game at the same time.
But it's such garbage that actually important lore is locked behind these events.
Now this may be just a case of amnesia by my part, but the only important lore that I can remember for limited events was the first ever event on Reconciled Stars, where we learned the sky is fake and it actually plays a role later in Archon quests.
For example, I have no idea who this guy is. I went through all the stories and then he just randomly appeared in the middle of an event and I'm supposed to know him? In my chat, people kept telling me that he's actually gonna spoil a really important part of the story. And I'm just sitting here thinking, I just wanna play the game. Not to mention that even after I finished the event where he appeared, because I had no context for his story, if he spoiled anything, well, I missed it.
Sorry my guy, but Albedo doesn't really spoil anything. As a streamer, you seem to be led astray by your chat, which is not going to be 99% of people's experience with this game.
But you know what? Enough talking about the storytelling, let's move on.
Indeed, enough story. This script is already 3 pages long, for just the story section. If only I could write this much for my college assignments.
And so I set it up to be my goal to beat the final floor of the Spiral Abyss. At which point, my viewers were like, yeah, good luck with that. Unless you're a whale, see you in 3 years.
3 years. Again, either chat saying nonsense or exaggeration for storytelling. The game hasn't even been out for full 3 years yet. I beat the Spiral Abyss 36 stars with a dogshit account that never won the 50-50 in 1 year. Although it is not the actual attempt, I have a video on my channel if you doubt me. Just cut me some slack, I didn't know what I was doing back then. Well, I still kinda don't, but hey, at least it's better.
My first ever pull gave me the look, but the first banner that popped up when I was playing was for Hu Tao and Yelan. And I got them both within like 20 pulls of each other. And after them I also got Bennett and the Water Boy.
Dude, leave some looks for the rest of us. For fuck's sake. No wonder you beat the Spiral Abyss with this look.
Hu Tao sucks! To have optimal DPS, you have to charge attack and jump in the middle of the animation to interrupt it. Over and over and over. That's what you do the whole fight.
No one is obligating you to jump attack. You just do that because you want to be optimal.
And so, I threw Hu Tao into the garbage can and I benched her indefinitely. Yes, I am aware that I got lucky and I got her on my first attempt on the banner, but I don't like the gameplay, and if I don't like it, I'm not playing it.
Now this whole situation is odd, because there is this thing called a character test, which hoyoverse lets you test their characters at C0, so you can decide if you want to pull for them. So if you don't like Hu Tao, I'm sorry to say, but this is purely your fault, my guy.
Of course, this decision started a bit of an argument. And this argument made me realize that the Genshin community splits into two camps. Those who follow the meta guides and micro-optimize their DPS, and those who actually have free will and they have fun with the tools Genshin gives them.
These two kind of players are found in any multiplayer game with multiple characters that I've ever played. It just so happens that in Genshin you have no team to harm, quote unquote, by not playing your best.
I decided to rise a very stupid but glorious middle finger. I went on the internet and searched for Genshin DPS tier lists, something no mortal should ever do.
I'm not gonna spend hours dissecting this tier list, just know I don't agree with it.
But I also needed a carry DPS for the second team. Someone quite bad, which is how my Candy Scary challenge was born.
Now, in order to stick a middle finger to the community in your chat, you benched Hu Tao because she was boring, but got an even more boring character to replace her. Huh.
But I needed every help I could get, so I needed good weapons.
He talks a lot about not pulling on banners, but he now will go do the great sin of pulling on the weapon banner. This ought to be interesting. To summarize this section of the video, he pulled on the weapon banner and got the spear twice. But when it came down to it, he was lacking 2 pulls to get the weapon he wanted, and he decided to use Genesis crystals, given to him by his community. That is right, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot be a free-to-play player while spending Genesis crystals. No matter the reason or the source, if you spend those crystals, you are not free to play. Some would argue that even having these crystals would make him not free to play. I say that the act of using them is what makes you not free to play. As he says on the video, he could have farmed the Primogems, but he decided not to. If you want more details, check out his video. I'm trying to make this as short as I can, okay? Another funny thing here when he showed his Genesis screen is that the bonus for both the biggest packs have been used. Not only the 500 he claims in the video, I still believe him in that he used 500, but it's clear that he has more than that in his account.
And literally on the next pull, I got my Claymore. So practically it is all as if I stayed free to play.
As if is an imaginary scenario. So again, you are not free to play from that moment on, which means you technically failed your own challenge.
Do I care? No, it's a stupid challenge that gave me too many 5 stars anyway.
Look, I get it, you don't care. Neither do I. This is all for fun. Should you, Mr. Necrit, care about my view? Well, of course not. Why would you?
Every time I played a game on stream before, I was fairly confident I knew more than my viewers. In general, statistically, I am above average at most games.
So am I above average in many games that I play a lot. This is technically the norm. Games that you play a lot, you are at least above average. But if you give me a MOBA to play, which I basically never played, I'm gonna be bronze or even worse. Now he talks about getting backseated, but again, I'm just gonna skip that because that's only an issue if you are a streamer, and it doesn't apply to 99% of us.
But at the end, I did it. It was pain. It was suffering. But with my Candy Scary, I beat Spiral Abyss 12 with 0 stars and 8 seconds left on the timer.
Now here he finally beats the Spiral Abyss. No stars though, and although he has his 5-star weapons, his artifacts are a mess. Congratulations on beating the Spiral Abyss though.
It would not be unthinkable to comprehend that I didn't have 2 years of time to farm artifacts. That when I got an artifact with crit rate and crit damage, it was good enough for me. That it could be one that I could use really well. No, in the eyes of all of you, it was all mid. All artifacts are either perfect or mid.
Now for his audience, they either call the artifact mid or good, where I have a standard classification. Wanna hear it? For crit based artifacts, for example, if an artifact has less than 20% crit value, it is trash. If it has between 20 or 30%, it is mid, or as I prefer to call it, usable. If it has between 30 and 40%, it is good. And if it has more than 40%, it is godly. That of course, there is one exception, that is the hat, that already comes with a crit main stat, so the substat can be a bit lower.
A great pyro artifact? Well, that's not part of the set, so it's mid.
If you have an artifact that has flat pyro damage, that would truly be a thing. Now that is it for the video dissection. Let me talk to you about my announcements that I said in the beginning. First of all, I shouldn't even be making this video, as some of you might know. I just had surgery and I have a few stitches on my body. Nothing to worry about it though. But while I was away, I was thinking about this channel and how I should proceed. The next video you will probably see on this channel will be the biggest project that I've been working on for months. I don't know when it's going to come out, but expect it to not be soon. And this big project is called the Genshin Character Almanac. Now, will this be the final name of the video? I don't know. This video is basically an introduction and a guide to every single character in Genshin Impact. And believe you me, we have more than 60, I believe at the time the video releases we will surely have more than 70 characters. So expect a long video. Also, I edited a video for one of my favorite VTubers called Mifuyu. This video just happens to have become her most popular video. It is a video about her reacting to the king of skits of YouTube, Steven He. That video has gotten a shit ton of views, so I recommend you go and watch the video. I will leave the video in the end screen and as well as in the description if I remember. And for the final announcement, we have a goal for 100 subscribers. Whenever we reach 100 subscribers, I will start a Minecraft playthrough. Not any playthrough, mind you, this will be me, a noob at Minecraft, trying to beat in hardcore mode. So let's get to those 100 subscribers, shall we? Anyways, thanks for watching, don't forget to like, comment and mainly subscribe for the challenge, and I'll see you in the next video.